Hello friends. It has been a long while since I've picked up the camera. I actually have picked up the camera multiple times and I didn't feel like the footage was interesting and it was sporadic, and I didn't feel like it was worth posting, so I didn't, and that turned into several months, I think at this point, close to several weeks at least at this point of not posting. I think I posted my last video in August and maybe July. I can't even remember. And we're back. It is now full-blown fall in the Pacific Northwest, and we actually have Michael's parents coming to visit us this weekend. So I thought we could do a little fall reset. The house certainly needs it. And I could also take you along with me in terms of cleaning and prepping the house for guests, things like that. We have a few home projects in the works for when Michael's parents come, and I think it'll be fun. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this, the elephant in the room. I did cut a lot of my hair off, but that happened a month or two ago now. It's been a while. It's already grown out. I think when I initially cut it, it was like right here, and I feel like it's already grown like a full 1.5 inches, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, welcome back to the vlog. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're new, my name is Katrina, and I started a YouTube channel because I moved out to the Pacific Northwest to Seattle, Washington, where I don't know anyone, and I decided to make this a hobby. So welcome to my life. Okay, one of the first things on the agenda is a snack, and then we're gonna tackle the couch. We haven't washed the covers since the spring, and with the dog now, they're looking pretty gross. So this has been my favorite snack. By the way, I got it at Whole Foods, this peach habanero salsa, and this brand of chips, specifically the Siete with lime. So good. And they are fried in avocado oil instead of like nasty oil, so they're quote unquote better for you. Such a good little snack for getting going. Okay, so I thought I would show you guys the room in question that we're updating, and that is the closet. So ignore the mess in the room, but essentially what we've done so far, which I don't know if you'll be able to tell, we have to turn the lights off in the room, but we painted the whole thing white, and we took off the boob light, and we'll be replacing that light fixture in there. And I still need to vacuum the carpet and stuff, but we're gonna have a closet install on this wall, and on this wall. So that is something that we're gonna do this weekend. We just really wanted to get a head start before Michael's parents got here, so at least the walls are prepped. And we covered up the gray. It's the same deal as in the whole house. Gray walls, beige ceiling, yuck. So we just painted it a nice bright white so it blends in with the white closet system that we got. And, you know, nothing that fancy schmancy. next day. And we got showered, we got dressed, put on some real clothes, and we made some legit breakfast. We didn't just have caffeine on an empty stomach. So we're off to a good start. It's about 10:30. I was going to work out today, but then Mabel decided to trip me on the stairs, and I'm pretty sure I sprained my ankle. Love that for me. Anyway, either way, she didn't mean it, and we need to take her on a walk because she's been a good girl and has been sitting quietly downstairs ever since Michael left for work. So we're gonna do that, and then I think we're gonna run and go get a bunch of groceries that I need for the week because I'm going to be making tomato soup tomorrow for dinner with grilled cheese. So I need to get a bunch of tomatoes. And Saturday, we're probably gonna go out to eat. And then on Sunday, I'm gonna be doing braised short ribs with mashed potatoes and Jesus, Mabel, bless you. And some kind of side of veggies. So I need to get all those groceries, plus some fruit, just regular stuff. I feel like I've been going to the grocery store all the time. But we really don't ever eat out these days. I mean, honestly, the past 2 years, we really hardly ever eat out. So we go through a lot of food. And yeah, let's go along for the dog walk. We'll listen to our audiobook while we walk. Also, side note, I feel like this lighting is doing me some favors for once, but I don't know if you can tell, but obviously I have no makeup on. I have been dealing with a lot of breakouts in my chin area because I have slowly phased off my medication. I phased off my first medication back at the start of summer when I was in Europe and my skin was perfect. And then when I phased out my second medication in August, this is what's happening. So I'll go into more depth on this perhaps in a second video because I feel like it's not doing quite as badly as 2 years ago when I tried to come off my meds and I didn't phase them off. I just quit everything cold turkey. My skin freaked out. But yeah, let me know if you want a separate video. house all prepped and clean for Michael's parents arriving, and I have a few moments before I need to go pick them up at the airport. And I thought I would give you guys a little book haul of the books I got at Barnes yesterday, and as well as some other books I've gotten recently, like a little collective haul. Some of them I've already read, and yeah, I thought it would be cool because I love seeing what people are buying. Anyway, first book I got is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I'm so incredibly excited for this book. I wish we had the UK cover. I think the UK cover is stunning. But Coco Mellors wrote Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I read about 2 years ago when I was first moving to Washington. And I loved that book. It was a 5-star read. It's definitely not a light read, but I loved it. I still think about it to this day. And it was one of my favorite new discovery authors. I think Cleopatra and Frankenstein was her first book. So I'm very excited to read this one. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that she came out with a new book and I was like, say less. So this is the first book I got. I also got Sally Rooney's new book, Intermezzo. And I think the cover design of this book is stunning. I absolutely love it. So I'm not the biggest fan of Sally Rooney's writing. I think it's good. I don't think it's anything life-changing. I didn't read Normal People. I watched the show, and I've read her other 2 books, which is Conversation with Friends, and I think she has one other book. I can't remember right now, but they were decent. They're kind of a string of consciousness. It's not a very plot-driven book. It's more character-driven. So, which I love to read books like that. I can't say that they are the most life-changing or that I was like moved to bits when I read it, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I picked up her new book. I've heard that this one is, like, people are saying this is her best one, even better than Normal People. So I don't know, we'll see. The other book I picked up that it's kind of been on the back of my mind for years, and I finally saw it on the stand and I just grabbed it kind of as this was the last book I grabbed, but it's called The Idiot by Elif Batuman. Don't know how to pronounce that, but it's a Pulitzer Prize finalist, and my friend Hallie read it years ago when it first came out. I think like 2018, 2019, this book was really doing the rounds. When was it first published? 2017, yeah. Published in Penguin Books 2018, yeah, that tracks. So that's when it was like really first hitting the shelves, and clearly it's taking me like 6 years to come around to it, but I do really want to read this. Again, I know nothing about this book, but I wanted to branch out and get some. I feel like I've read a lot of fantasy the past few months, so I want to get back into my literary fiction. And these are the books that I picked up for that. And then I said, I'm not gonna read any more fantasy. I picked up this beast of a book. This is a very gothic, I would describe it, spellbinding, witchy book. It covers 3 generations of witches all in the same family, discovering kind of their powers. I would say trigger warning for domestic violence, sexual assault, and unplanned pregnancies, but darker than I expected, but lovely nonetheless. And this cover is such a good representation of the book. Like, I was always drawn to this cover because I love green. I love like dark, foresty vibes, and this one always drew me in. So this one was good. I love this one. So those are that was one I've already read. And then the other one I've already read is Heartless Hunter. This is a fantasy, and again, centered around witchcraft. So I was like, give me all the witchy vibes as I enter. And I read them all in September. I didn't even wait till October. So I have a full month of witchiness to go, and I need to find, maybe I'll read this next to get me into October, and then I'll switch to literary fiction. I'm not sure, but yeah. This was the book I picked up. Again, I read this, I think, in like 24 hours. It's, the text is pretty large in here. It's honestly, it's not that long. I think it's like 300 pages. And I like that this wasn't as stereotypical recently as a lot of fantasy books I've read. I think there was one that was making the rounds on TikTok called Quicksilver. I hated that book. That one was not good. I read it fast, but it was like, hey, Sarah J. Maas, can I copy your homework but change it up a bit? That's how I would describe that book. I'll like post a picture of it here if I can find it, but I haven't been impressed with a lot of fantasy books lately. So this one, I thought, again, it wasn't anything life-changing, but at least it was a little bit different. The love interest was nice. It wasn't like, it had a good plot. It had kind of like medium / light spice scenes, which I enjoyed, because I feel like some fantasy books have been getting a little bit carried away, and I'm like, that's not the point of this book. Like, the point of it is to be lost in a world of fantasy with a nice subplot of romance. That's how I like mine. Like, I like to be immersed into the world and the world building and things like that, and then have the romance be like a strong subplot, but I don't want to read just like endless scenes of spice, if that makes sense. Anyway, I like this one a lot. The other two books, non-fictions. The one of them I read because, again, like I said, I've been going off of my acne medication, and I want to try to figure out a way to balance my hormones without taking hormonal medications. And so I got this book, The Hormone Cure, at Barnes. And actually, I will say this reads so incredibly easy. There's like a quiz to take to help you figure out like what may be like the cause of your hormonal imbalance. And again, this is not going to diagnose you, but I think it's very informative. And so at least if you go to a doctor and you've read this, like, you're not going in clueless. That's my plan. And I have like completed the quiz, and I read the chapters that I think apply to me. And honestly, I think I'm going to read this book cover to cover at some point, not just the chapters that I thought applied to what I think may be going on with my hormones, because I think it's so incredibly interesting. So I loved this. I highly recommend. I think every girl should have a copy of this and read this, at least the chapters that like do the quiz at the beginning, read the introduction, read all the like basic things, and then kind of this far into the book, you get into the quiz, and then you can like go to the subsequent chapters. And then there's a glossary of, in here of like recommendations, and like, if you go to get your blood results done, stuff that helps interpret some of the analyses and things like that, if you want to have more of that information. She has like supplement protocols, things like that. I don't know, I just thought it was great. Definitely not everyone's cup of tea, but if you're into that, this is great. And then the other book I got in that same vein, which I did not get very far into reading, but I want to start reading this in the mornings, like a few chapters, because I think it's all just very interesting, is, yeah, I got into like page 29 and I kind of set it aside, but is How Not to Die, or no, How Not to Age. How Not to Die is his other book. And it just talks about kind of the optimal diet and lifestyle for the longest, healthiest lifespan. And I think it has very interesting facts about not just like, oh, eat vegan, things like that, but like different, it breaks down the science of food and what food impacts, like what enzymes, what parts of your gut, inflammation, proteins, like how everything really works. And as a former STEM major and chemistry major, I love food science and learning about these kind of things. So I am very nerdy. Like once I get into reading it, like I read the first like 30 pages of this book just like in one sitting, like completely immersed, like highlighting and underlining things. It's just picking, it's not like a book that you're like riveting to pick up, but really, really like this. So I'm definitely gonna get through this. Just need some time. So I need to start reading this in like in the mornings. But yeah, that's my massive collective book haul. I did not get this all in one go. This was like a few months worth of books. I think I got some of these in August and September. I did some damage, but yeah, all the different books. And now I need to eat some food and head out.